So I'm going to talk a little about it. You can ask me questions. I'll try my best. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So my wife helped me make this presentation. I'm not super good at it, so we go through it. So what was it like growing up in India? I like kites. I really like flying kites. Have you guys flown kites?
Yeah.
Okay. So now in India, kites were made out of paper. Have you flown a paper kite?
Yes.
You haven't? Okay, so how much, I think at that point in time, when I was growing up, a kite was 1 rupee. And we'll come to how much is $1 versus Indian rupees, but that was super cheap. You could get a candy for a rupee, and you could get a kite for a rupee. So I would take 3 rupees from my parents, and I'd go buy 2 kites and 1 candy, and then I'd walk back home. But I flew kites. I loved riding my bicycle, and my grandparents lived in Calcutta, which is east of India, and I liked going fishing there, and they had a small boat that I could go on. So that's what I did over there. Favorite Indian meal? So I like butter chicken, and as the name sounds, it's got a lot of butter. It's really, really nice. It goes with something called a naan. Has anyone eaten naan? Okay, so it's a flatbread, but I just put extra butter on it, and so it made it really, really good. Now the naan, have you guys seen a clay oven?
Yeah.
Okay, so someone describe it to me. Anybody?
A what?
A clay oven?
A clay oven. Made out of clay.
That makes sense. But what does it look like? How does it function?
It's kind of like the one where you put the pizzas in.
Yes. Yes. Now,
Made out of clay.
okay guys, so that one has an opening on the side, and you put the pizza in, and when it's cooked you pull it out. In India, this was more like, it's underground, okay? And you take, so it's like a pizza base, the naan is like a pizza base. You take it, and you place it there, and then it cooks, and then you pull it out. So we didn't have like a side opening oven. It's always underground, or it's a container that comes out, but it's still open on the top. So you put coal in there, light it on fire, let it heat up, and once the fire dies out, you start placing the naan, so it comes out like a flat pizza bread.
Oh,
Okay, favorite childhood memory. Growing up, I traveled quite a bit. My mom and dad both like to travel, and they took me and my sister around the country. I've been to every state in India. India has 27 states. And as a kid, I liked different things, so I got to see the ocean, I got to see the mountains in India, I got to travel quite a bit. But growing up, I worked as a photographer, so I would go to every state, and I would shoot architecture and factories. That's why I liked this bridge. India never had a bridge like this. This is called the Howrah Bridge in Calcutta. The British ruled India for the longest period of time. In 1956, I think it's 56 when we got independence, okay, from the British. So that's an architecture that I like, and I like Calcutta. So my favorite childhood memory is going to my grandparents' house in Calcutta. We would take a train, and it would take 3 days to get there. So 3 days of train ride. You'd sleep in the train, get up, eat food, go back to sleep, read a book. But my thing was getting there, so I enjoyed going to that place. They had a lot of pets, and I enjoyed hanging out there, fishing, riding a horse. Those are things that I did. Those are my favorite childhood memories. Any questions? Anything that you have? No, you good? Okay. Favorite thing to do. As an adult, my favorite thing to do is to spend time in the mountains. So I grew up in the mountains. I grew up in the capital, no. I was born in New Delhi, which is our capital. And it is, Mumbai is the largest city in India, but New Delhi is the capital. So I grew up there, I was born there, and then we moved to Dehradun. My mom and dad, they moved me to Dehradun, and I like riding my motorcycle there. I've not been to India in some time, but that's my favorite thing to do. And I like going to coffee shops and riding around. And that's what I like. So when I moved to Wichita, Wichita was a little flat for me because there are no mountains around. Yeah. my favorite game is cricket. Has anyone played cricket? Anybody knows anything about it? Sir,
Well, I've seen it on like
TV.
stuff.
What about you?
Like baseball?
It is like baseball. However, the bat is flat in the front and it's not round. Okay. And so, boys, you'll have to help me out. Girls, you'll have to help me out. So, when you're throwing a baseball ball, what are you pitching it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So in cricket, you can't pitch. You have to swing your arm. Okay. If you pitch it, it's a no ball. So you can't pitch it. You have to swing your arm. The ball has to bounce. Go ahead, sir.
What's a no ball?
When you don't pitch it, when you don't swing your arm, instead you throw the ball, that's a no ball.
It doesn't count, like foul,
Yeah.
like in baseball, yeah.
Yeah, so it has to bounce. Out of the 6 balls that you bowl, there can be 1 that does not need to touch the ground, but everything else has to bounce, and then it comes to the batsman. So the batsman bats the ball and hits a run, so you can score 6 runs if the ball goes over everybody. If it rolls down and goes to the boundary, it's 4 runs. And you can also run between the wickets. So, yeah. Yeah, but growing up, I liked climbing trees. We had a really big guava orchard. And we had a mango orchard behind my house. So I liked cycling through that. I liked to ride bicycles with my friends, go down to the river, and then come back up. But we played a lot of cricket growing up. How long did I live in India? So like I said earlier, I was born in '85 in New Delhi, and then my parents moved, and then we moved to Dehradun. I lived in India until February 14, 2017. So 15th February 2017, I was in Wichita, and yeah, it was interesting. So India has a lot of people, and there's a lot of traffic. When my wife picked me up at the airport, I think we went from the airport to Rock Road without slowing down or pressing the brakes. That's not how India functions. Because there are so many people, you can, so in a mile, today when I was driving from Rock Road to the next stoplight or whatever is a mile, and there are probably 30 cars in between that. In India, there'll be about 130. So that's how crowded it is. And you've got motorcycles at this, motorcycles, and you've got buses, all in the same lane. So it takes a long time. Where in India did I live? So I mixed it up a little bit, but I was born in Delhi, but I lived in a town called Dehradun. That town, when the British ruled India, that was their summer capital. So it was like for people who have a lake house or they have another house that they go to, that's how Dehradun was for the British. So their capital, they worked in New Delhi, but they would travel to Dehradun because Delhi got too hot. And because this was surrounded by mountains, the weather was cooler. During that period of time, in Dehradun, they never needed any air conditioning because the summers were cool enough. So they would have a ceiling fan or like a regular fan, and that's all they used. In the past 4 or 5 years, because the population's grown and there's a lot of traffic and pollution, people have started using air conditioning. But till about 5 years ago, I don't think anybody in any house had air conditioning over there because it was so pleasant. Any questions? Anything that you want to ask?
I think we can pull up this link and it's gonna show a map
Sure.
of.
Yeah. Okay, so that's New Delhi. That's where I was born. And this is where the Himalayas start. So if you know about those mountains, that's where the range is. So that's where I grew up in Dehradun. And if you look at India, I think that is 1/3, maybe 1/3 the size of America. But our population is way too much. I can't even count the numbers that it's on. So I could ask Google after we're done, and once it reads it out to us, I'll let you know. Yeah, so growing up, I moved between a few states, but I stayed in New Delhi, and I worked from there. Like I said, I worked as a photographer. That gave me the opportunity to travel to every single state in India. But I still, my home base, or where I would always come back to, was Dehradun, where my parents' house was. Traditions. What holidays in India do you celebrate that are different from America? I celebrate Christmas. That is one festival that I celebrate and I like it. Good Friday, Easter, New Year's Eve, Republic Day, and Independence Day. Now, India has a lot of festivals. So does anybody know of any other festival in India? Right. I can't hear you. Any other festivals you know about?
I know about the Holi festival.
Holi festival?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry? Okay. So Holi, like Miss Bay said, Holi is a festival of colors. People throw colors on each other. It's a way to get to know people. I don't know if I put a picture, maybe my wife did, we'll look in the next slide, but it's colorful. People throw I don't play that festival, or I don't celebrate it, but that is Holi. Then there's Diwali, which is, there's a lot of fireworks. And Diwali is a Hindu festival, so they believe in victory over evil. So that's why they have Diwali. Then there's Raksha Bandhan. Raksha Bandhan is an interesting festival. It is when a sister, it's a festival for brothers and sisters. So a sister ties it's called a Rakhi that goes around a brother's hand, saying that they love each other and they'll take care of each other and protect each other. So that's what that is. And then there's Guru Nanak Jayanti, which is Sikh festival, is S-I-K-H. I don't know if you've seen somebody who's Sikh over here. They wear a turban. Has anybody seen a Sikh person? Not S-I-C-K,
Yeah.
S-I-K-H. No? Okay.
I haven't seen any in Wichita.
Anybody in Wichita?
Yeah.
Okay. But they wear a turban on the head. It's a religion that they follow. So it's Sikhism, and that's what they follow. Okay, so that's how people look when color is thrown on them. And then they go to friends' houses and throw color. That's a cow that people threw color on. So during that day, you would see a lot of animals just because at the farm or you can also see a cow on the road. I'm not even kidding. You can see a cow walking on the road because cows are considered holy in India, in the Hinduism religion. Has anybody colored a cow before? No. Okay. Okay, festival continues. So there's Diwali. During Diwali, people with those things, I'm forgetting what it's called. It's a lamp, but I'm forgetting the Hindi name to it. So they put oil in it, and then there's a wick, and they light that up. That is,
Candle?
it doesn't have wax in it.
It's like.
It's oil, like an oil lamp.
It's like an oil lamp, stays in the open, and you can put something that surrounds it so the wind doesn't blow.
Is that lantern?
Yeah, kinda. What were you saying?
It's like, is it like something that's surrounding like that?
Yeah?
But like it's like a big thing and it's like surrounding. Does it go up in the air?
No, so this is this size, and you place it on the ground, and you can make designs with it. So people
Oh.
make patterns out of it. So from a distance, it looks beautiful.
That's cool. That's cool.
Okay? That is people worshiping at a mosque, so they're Muslim people. And that's a festival called Eid. And they cook some good food, a lot of meat. That's what they do. Holi, that's how it looks like. The whole day, that's what it looks like. So you could go to a party, there are people throwing colors. If you're driving on the road, random people could throw color at you. People you don't even know.
Okay.
It would scare me. Would it scare you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Okay. Religious ceremonies, places of worship. India has a lot of religions. How many religions? Can someone name religions that they know about? Yeah? Catholic? Did you say Catholic? It's still under Christianity, but yes.
Yeah. They have,
Jewish? Yeah?
there's Jewish, yeah.
What's the religion?
Somebody said it.
That's right.
Judaism, yeah.
Okay, so India has, Christianity is, we're minors, or the least amount of people. But there's Hinduism. So India's been ruled by different rulers before the British came in. So there were Mughals, and the Mughals were Muslims, and then there was Hinduism. So India is mostly a Hindu country. Then there are Muslims, then there are Sikhs, the people that I spoke about who wear a turban. Then there are Jains, they've got a different religion, and of course there are Christians. So my parents are Christians, my sister is, my family is Christians. But we go, so that's a Gurudwara. That's where the Sikhs worship. That's a Hindu temple. That one's called the Lotus Temple because it looks like a lotus. But yeah, there are different kinds of temples, and India has a lot of temples over there. Okay, traditional clothes. Men wear kurta pajama in North India. Now, if you go to India, you won't see a lot of people wearing kurta pajama. They dress like I do, or like you guys do, jeans, a t-shirt, or pants, and a shirt, or a suit. That's what they wear. However, India had kurta pajama for the longest of time. So if you go to a village, you'll see men dressed in that. So it's basically pants and a long shirt. Men wear lungis in South India. That's an interesting thing. So a lot of them worked in farms and had to harvest, and they didn't have big tractors. So they would wear like a wrap. It's like something that you can wrap around you. That's what they would wear. Okay, women wear saris all over India. There are different materials, patterns, colors. Women also wear lehenga and salwar kameez. So what she's wearing is a salwar kameez. That's what she's wearing. So it's a long shirt with design and pattern, and you got pants that go with it. Now, the dupatta, that is the thing that she has on her right side, and that is, you can wear it any way you want. You can wear it to the side, you can wear it around your neck like a scarf, but that's what a lot of women in India wear. So girls going to school and colleges used to wear that. That was like a uniform. It wouldn't be that nice, it used to be just plain color, but that's what girls wore in India. And boys wore shorts or pants, whatever the uniform was. But in India, most of the schools you have to wear uniforms. Would you guys like doing that?
No.
I feel. Okay, so over here, that's me, my wife Sarah, that's my sister Joanna, and there's our friend Mandy. So my wife and my sister, they're wearing a sari. She's wearing something like a kurta pajama, and then I'm just wearing a blazer. Okay, famous foods of India. South India. So India, food is divided, like in our country, in America as well. There are different regions with different kinds of food. But South India has dosa, which is a flat bread that's super thin and has vegetables in it. And there's idli and vada. Idli is like a rice cake. Okay, and then yeah, it's nice. North India eats chole bhature, it's chickpeas. Butter chicken is put up there just because I like it. Okay, and then East India, that's Calcutta side, Calcutta, Assam, and the northeast. And I'll show that to you on a map. But that's where they eat a lot of fish and rice. West, they eat a lot of fish curry, which is by the ocean. So you've got freshwater fish is eaten on east of India. West India eats a lot of saltwater fish. But throughout India, there's biryani. Biryani is rice with meat. Samosa and chaat That's chaat, that's what they're eating. That's a dosa. It's wrapped up and it's got vegetables inside it. And that is a picture of biryani. Do you guys have any questions till now? Come on, people, you've got to have some questions. No? Okay. Political. Have there been any major conflicts in India? Does anybody know about?
She had a question.
Sorry.
What is a samosa?
What is a samosa? A samosa is, it's a bread first. It's triangle, and you put potato in it, and you put peas in it, and you put some good stuff like butter in it, and then you wrap it up, and you can bake it or fry it. Now, the healthier way to eat is bake it. That's what they say, and that's what they've started doing now. But they always fried it in oil, so it would be oily and nice and crisp.
What's a good Friday?
Good Friday. It's a holiday in Christianity. If you're a Christian, it's when Jesus died on the cross.
Oh.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You said something when you were telling her this. What's a like a?
What's a what?
You said like something that started with an S. I didn't-
Samosa?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what she was.
So it's a snack that people eat. I'll just come back. It's a snack, and you put potato in it, and you wrap it together, and you deep fry it, and then you eat it. You can eat it with a cup of tea. I know, it's so good. Go ahead, sir.
Do you eat butter on everything?
Not anymore. I used to.
Butter makes everything better.
Right.
Okay. So India has been a country that a lot of people wanted. When I say wanted, what they mean is India had really good spices. India had a lot of gold. A lot of it. India had diamonds. Till a long time ago, the biggest diamond that was excavated was in India. It was called the Kohinoor. It is at the London Museum now. So, when the kings ruled India, the throne or the chair that they sat in, there are chairs that are made out of complete gold. Like all of it, with precious stones on it. I've been to palaces that have been broken down now, but I've seen walls where they had designs. So they painted leaves and flowers and all of that, but there was still gold running through it, and the flowers were made out of precious stones. So that's why a lot of people wanted India. So we had the Mughals that ruled, and I'm going to go through it, So Akbar was a ruler, Babur was the second ruler, Humayun was the third ruler, Jahangir was the fourth ruler, Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb. They're interesting names. But those were the rulers that ruled India before the British came into India. Okay? And then the British came into India and they developed a lot of things. India didn't have roads, so they had dirt roads. The British came in, they were educated, they started educating India. They made roads, but at that point in time there were no cars, so they were horseback. And that's the reason when they moved out of India, they moved overnight. And when they moved out of India, the development stopped. It was stagnant, so whatever they'd constructed and created, that's what was there. And then India should have started working on making broader roads because they knew that there'd be more people, but they didn't do that. That's why we've got a population and our traffic is not the best. Okay? Okay. The largest conflict and dispute between Jammu and Kashmir regions that are debated between India and Pakistan, this has been going on since partition. The first major Indo-Pakistan war was in '71. India won that war. Then there was a conflict in 2002. India won that. And most recently this year, there was a standoff between India and Pakistan. The reason they're fighting for is just this section. We believe, I being an Indian, we believe that this is ours, and Pakistan believes this belongs to them. Now, when the British left the country, because they had marked it out, so when you have a house, it's marked around, right? The school is marked around. So if you go to Google Maps, it shows school, it has a boundary. That's how India is. Now, when they were marking it, they did not pull a line right between this and this, or somewhere there, okay? And that is why that's been a topic of war forever between India and Pakistan. Is India peaceful or loud? Okay. India is loud. If you're driving and you're honking, no one gets upset at you. You can honk, no one gets upset at you. The only places you can't honk is in front of a school. You can't honk in front of a hospital. And there are a few more places. Sometimes people still do that and get away with it. Yeah. Okay. India also has the second largest population of people in the world. All of this adds up to a loud nation and populated cities. There are parts of India that are very quiet and peaceful. This all depends on where you travel to. Where I live at, it was super peaceful, very, very quiet, just because it was on a mountain and not everybody traveled to it. But if you're living in a large city like New Delhi, it's like New York. If someone's been to New York, that's how loud it is all the time. Go ahead.
If you were driving by like a school and there was like somebody there and you honked, would you get a ticket?
You used to get a ticket. Now, just with traffic and I'm going to try and explain this, and maybe it makes sense, maybe it doesn't. Being in the school that you're in right now, you're super privileged. Okay. How do most of you come to school?
Car.
Okay, so it's either bus, car, parents drop you. Once you grow older, you'll have your own vehicle, you'll drive. That's not how India functions. By God's grace, I went to a really nice school. It wasn't as big as yours. It was probably 1/10 the size of your school, but it was a really, really nice school. But a lot of people in India walk to school, and they walk probably 2 miles. Every day to school, just because they want to go and study. And then they walk back. So they walk in the rain, they walk when it's sunny, they walk when it's cold, and they get to school. Okay, so they walk with their umbrellas, and you can see them on the road. And I've splashed a few kids when I was growing up. I don't want to do it anymore, and that was rude of me, but I've done that. It was fun at that time. However, they walk to school every single day, walk back every single day just because they want to study. They carry all their books in their backpack every day to school because they don't have lockers. So they carry those books back to school. That's how they live. So it gets loud because there are so many kids chatting all the time, walking on the road. Will that make noise? Right? So that's what happens. Then there are vehicles, and that's how it is. So India is loud, most part of it. Languages. India has 23 languages. I think it's 27, but 23 major languages. I speak in 4 languages. How many languages do you speak in?
I'm learning to.
Yeah? What is the second language that you learn?
Spanish.
Very cool. What about you?
French.
French? So you've got English and French. So you're studying French, and you're studying English. Of course, English, you speak that. And English. Anybody else learning any other languages? Go ahead.
I'm learning Spanish and Japanese.
You're learning Japanese? Wow. That is really, really cool. What about you, sir?
Spanish and French.
Nice. Anybody else? Yeah.
African language and Spanish.
Very cool. So I speak in 4 languages. I speak in Hindi. That's what North India speaks. I speak in English, of course. Do I pronounce everything like you guys do? No, because there are accents. There are different accents around the world. So I pronounce a lot of things differently. I said Hindi, English. I speak in Bengali, which is what my mom speaks. And then I understand Tamil. I said I speak in it. No, I just understand the 4th language. But it's pretty cool to know a different language. It's really nice. There are over 200, whatever. How much is it?
200 million.
200 million? Right. So that's how many people speak in English in India. That's because the population is so much. I personally am fluent in Hindi, English, and Bengali. Some of the people in my family are also fluent in Tamil. So my sister can speak and understand. My mom speaks in Bengali, English, and Hindi. My dad speaks in Tamil, English, and Hindi. My sister speaks all 4 languages fluently and understands it fluently. How much is $10 worth in India? What can you buy with $10?
Beyblade.
Hang on. We'll go one person. Candy? Okay, so if you have to buy 5 things, what would you buy for $10? 5 things.
Oh,
Oh.
Wow, you can get 10 things at Dollar Tree.
Correct? You can.
9 actually.
That's, okay, so
9 actually.
9, okay, because of taxes. Okay. So when I go and get a cup of coffee, or get a chai tea latte, it's $4 and probably 60 cents or something. In India, a cup of chai at not at a coffee shop, not at a Starbucks, but somewhere outside is 20 cents. Okay? What could you do? The currency used is Indian rupees, that's what we use. I wish I had some to show you, I don't. Approximately 700 rupees is 10 USD. What can you do with it, okay? With 700 rupees, you could buy breakfast. So when I spoke about rice cakes or a dosa, you could buy that. You could buy your lunch, so you could get a sandwich or you could get rice and a curry. You could buy dinner, so you could get meat and rice and some vegetables. You could pay for your local transport, so you could take a bus. Wichita doesn't have a lot of local transport, but India, every city has a lot of buses for local transport. So you could take a bus, you could go to work, you could also buy a few toys and have spare change for candy. So that's all you could do with $10. Yeah, and like my wife says, you could spend all of that money going to Starbucks in one go. What is the weather? How much time do we have?
Oh, we still got like 20 minutes,
Okay.
so you're good.
What is the weather like? India is a large country and has all seasons over its vast land. Southern India is warmer all year long. Actually, it's super hot. In northern India, in the Himalayas, it has mountains. It has a mountain climate, and in some places it snows year round. So India has all weather. Where I stayed at, we got rain. The town that I stayed in did not get snow, but probably 25, 30 minutes if you're going up towards the mountains, that's where it starts snowing. We have the fall. Well, fall is beautiful in Wichita. In India, it's plain green. So when there's fall, we've got a lot of evergreens in the mountains, so you don't see leaves falling down. But the trees that are there, eucalyptus. Does anybody know a eucalyptus tree? Maybe? Okay. So that is a tree that sheds, so that's the only tree that you can see leaves falling on the ground. In northern India, the mountain climate, okay, rainy season or monsoon occurs every year from July to the end of September. The rainiest place in the world is in India. It rains every single day over there. Every day it rains. Would you like staying there?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. You would?
Yes.
Every day you've got to wear a rain jacket and go to school.
Nope.
All right. So that's the place you can go. And it's the rainiest place in the world. It rains every single day. I couldn't do it. I don't think I could. Go ahead.
Is Seattle the second famous place? Because it's really long.
It is? Let's look it up.
What's the first Seattle?
Does anybody know what's the second rainiest place? I think the 4 rainiest places in the world are all in India. So I'm going to name them. I'm not sure if it's the right pronunciation. So there's Cherrapunji. That was the rainiest place, but that place is taken. It rains way more there. So that's Mausenram, which is the northeast, and then there is Tudunendo or someplace. So I think the 4 rainiest places are in India. Okay, how is Kansas in the U.S. different than India? I can't really explain that. It is very, very different. Okay, there's more diversity in language, religion, culture in India than it is where we live in Andover, Kansas. Okay, let me think to put it in proportion. Tell me something that you love about Andover. One person. Go ahead.
Never mind.
Go ahead. No?
I like the food.
You like the food. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Our grocery stores are way smaller. Okay, India has way smaller grocery stores. Now, when you go to a pop machine, you could probably get 4 things up there. That's it. 4 things to choose from. So I really like Coke, but now I like Dr. Pepper. Do you agree?
I agree.
I know,
Yeah.
that's the best.
I
But,
would say,
but Kansas is very, very different, or Andover is very different compared to India. There's so much population that I wish I could explain, but you'll have to see it to understand. There's just so many people. There are so many different languages. So you could probably go say hello to somebody in your country and they'll not understand you because they speak a different language. Now, the universal thing is namaste, which is hello, and that's what people do to people. That's how you greet somebody, you could say namaste. Not anymore, people growing up, learning different languages still say hello or hi, but that's how it is. Please say.
I was gonna have you explain that picture and why there's a Kansas flag.
Okay. My wife moved to India because she wanted to teach. My wife and Mandy moved to India because they wanted to help some people who were, go ahead,
Before she was your wife, right?
before?
Explain that before.
Yeah, before we were married.
Yeah.
Before my wife and I were married, she moved. So this is Dehradun, this is where I grew up, and she was helping some missionary kids out and teaching them. So she taught at a school over here, and these kids were struggling because most of them, yeah, they're from different places, and they were struggling with their school. So she moved there and she started teaching. That's where I met Sarah before she was my wife. And Mandy is the girl that I've shown you in another picture. She'd come there with her. So that's how I met her. And they're from Kansas, so of course they have the Kansas flag there, right? That's what you do. I carry my Indian flag where I go. I've got a bigger one at home. Are there a lot of birds? Yes. India has a lot of birds there. Our national bird is the peacock. Has anybody seen a peacock?
yes.
They're so
Good. Yeah. So that's our national bird, and this thing's brass, and a lot of people in India do make stuff like this. And this one has a peacock on it, so I have one of these. I hang it in my house. Nothing important, but it's there. Okay. The national bird is the peacock. Some interesting birds from India are the kingfisher. Have you seen one?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Then there's the Himalayan monal. I pronounce that Himalaya, but being here, I've started saying Himalayan as well. So, and bird of paradise. This thing is beautiful. I think there are 4 of those that come to my parents' house every morning when they're drinking tea outside, and it's beautiful. It's got a really long tail, and I don't know. Have you seen the bird of paradise flower?
No.
Okay, so there's a flower that looks. I don't know why both of them are named the same thing, but it's beautiful. What kind of animals live in India? India is famous for some amazing species. The Royal Bengal tiger. Our zoo has one. Have you seen the tiger at the zoo?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is a tiger from Calcutta, or the Royal Bengal tiger. Asian elephant. We've got the Asiatic lion, Indian rhinoceros, and we've got a lot of other animals. I think we have a wolf that is native to India, or parts of India. We have the snow leopard. So I had never seen a snow leopard in the wild. I don't think there are. Go ahead.
I have a question about the elephant. Do people in India normally use elephants to help with their work?
Yes.
Kind of like with wood?
Yes. So the elephant was used in war. It was the front. No, the horses came in front. So there were foot soldiers, horses, and then elephants. Because elephants give you an advantage. You would be higher than everybody else. Then elephants started getting used for construction. So they would carry logs. They would cut the trees up in the mountains. They would float down a river, come down. The elephants would pick them up and bring them to the construction site. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then elephants were used to haul stuff, pull out trees after you dug them out. They would pull them out, and not anymore. People don't use them like they used to. But if you still go to a village, you'll still see elephants using that. But I've ridden an elephant. It's pretty fun. And a lot of people also used them when they went to a forest to hunt. So you could hunt tigers Now you can't kill tigers anymore, because how many are there? There are about 1,500 tigers in the world,
Yeah.
just because people have, right?
Yeah.
Or a number close to that. But people used to ride the elephant, so you get advantage of staying high, because the tigers lived in the grass, and then you could spot the elephant, and that is one animal that a tiger doesn't really attack. It tries and stays away from an elephant, so they would use that to hunt. Does that answer your question? Okay. Animals continued. Of course, the snow leopard. I was talking about the snow leopard. So I've never seen a snow leopard. I've been in the territory. I've hung out with some really famous photographers who won awards for snow leopards. I've never spotted one. I've never spotted a regular leopard. Around where I live at, there are regular leopards that my friends have seen. I've never seen one. I've gone to a national park to see a tiger. I've never seen one. So never go out with me if you want to spot a tiger or that. Okay? But I came here, I went to the Tanganyika Zoo, and I got to see 4 snow leopard, what are they called? Cubs?
Cubs.
Yeah, so that's what I got to see. That was pretty cool. This is a langur. It's a big gray monkey. My wife hates it. And if you throw food to them, they'll come to you. But then they will also snatch a packet of chips or something if you have in your hand. So you've got to stay away from them. The king cobra, or the cobra, is from India. It's one of the most poisonous snakes, but we've got rattlesnakes, but that is a poisonous snake. The Indian sloth bear, I have seen a bear carry a sack of potatoes on its back. So I went to a place where there was an earthquake and I was helping them out. The reason I went, I'll be honest, I'd never been in a helicopter, and I would be taking pictures from a helicopter, so I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But when I went there, there was an earthquake, and houses were broken down. It was really sad, but I spotted a bear taking a sack of potatoes, walking away. Then there's the Indian hornbill. It's a beautiful looking bird, and I've seen that at my house, I've seen that around. Okay, what are schools like in India? 98% of the schools have uniforms. I wore a uniform to school from kindergarten to 12th grade. So my uniform was a white shirt. I went to Grace Academy. That's the school that I went to. A white shirt, I wore a tie, and had gray stripes on it, and I wore gray pants, black shoes, and gray socks. That was uniform. Everybody wore the same thing. Every day for 12, 14 years. Yeah. Yeah, public schools have about 50 students to 1 teacher in a classroom.
Whoa, that's like
That's a lot of
two
kids.
here. That's pretty cool.
Really?
That's
I've also been to schools with 70 students in a class.
Whoa. How many?
Yeah,
70.
1 teacher, 70 students. Now,
Now.
okay, so classes, so 5th grade, you guys are 6th grade, right? So 6th is divided into sections when there's a large public school. So I know sections up to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I've seen about 8 sections. So 6th grade, 6A, 6B, 6C, all 6th grade, so 70 students a class. 1 teacher. So when she says, you guys need to keep quiet, you guys need to keep quiet. Otherwise, no one can study. That's how it is.
That would seem pretty hard.
Yeah.
How does it get whispering? Because all the kids that are in like 70 students, all the kids are whispering.
It is loud. Right, that's why a teacher carries a stick.
Whoa, yes.
So why did you get a stick?
Because people who are not paying attention, she can go. That's why. Yeah.
Don't give
Yeah.
It'd be
If you
crazy.
can always, that's how it is.
Yeah.
I had to put my hands out if I was not paying attention in class.
Oh, that would.
That's how I grew up.
I'm always strict.
Yeah.
So if you
Say that again.
so if you just like made a peep, you have to put your hand out.
If you were screaming,
Okay, do not scream.
if the teacher asked you not to talk, and you're still talking in class, yeah, you get warned, and if you don't, go ahead.
I've never had it happen to you before.
Yeah. I was in 6th grade. I had to put both my hands out.
Did it hurt?
So is it
Of course. I'm like, I would never do this again.
Did you tell your parents?
Yeah. And my parents were like, you should have listened to your teacher. Okay. So now it's getting less, and I can't really do that because that's how it is. However, yeah, you've got to pay attention in class. It's super important. What sports are popular in India? Cricket, I love the sport. I spoke about it before. I explained a little about it. We play football, which is soccer. Yeah, so that's what. So not American football. I don't understand it. I don't know how it works. For me, the term football is your foot and a ball. That's all I understand. Okay? I still, yeah, I work at Subaru, so I still cheer for WSU. When they're cheering for it, I try and understand as much as I can. But also like Jayhawk and Kansas State. Or, so, yeah. All right, so we played, and there's a game called Kabaddi. Okay, it's a really funny game. There's a line. There are 5 people or 6 people on that side, 5 or 6 people on this side. All you got to do is you got to cross the line. You got to tag somebody, and you got to come back. And people shouldn't be able to grab you. So if you're on that side of the line and you get caught, you're out. It is a fun game. So there's a line, you jump this side, you try. So these people try and circle you and try to grab you. All you got to do is tag them and run back. And you should be able to cross your line and you're safe.
That's fun.
I know. Then there's hockey and there's badminton. I used to play a lot of badminton as well growing up. I played basketball for a little time, but then my friends grew taller and they were better at it, so I let it go. Okay. Do people have pets in India? Yes. People have had all kinds of pets in India. When India was ruled by the British, I know people or read about him. My favorite author in the world is Ruskin Bond. I've met that guy, I've hung out with him. He writes kid stories and he writes stories about India. And if I wanted to know anything about the history of India, that's the guy I go to. He's 87 years old or 88 years old now, but I could write him. He's really, really good, but that's who I get all my facts from if I want to know anything about India. But we're back on pets, so people used to have leopards as pets. You couldn't really walk a leopard in the park. You couldn't do that. You couldn't put him on a leash and walk him, but people have had leopards as pets. Go ahead.
So if you had a leopard as a pet and it started to get more older and it started to act like it was in the wild, could it like lash out on its owner?
Yeah. That's why they never gave, I'll just come to you. That's why they never gave it raw meat. They would cook the meat all the way because you can't buy leopard food at a pet store, right? So you would cook the meat and then you would give it to the leopard to eat so that it wouldn't taste blood and then it wouldn't try and attack anybody. And it had a cover, they put a cover on the mouth.
So it wouldn't lie.
That's right. But they had leopards. Nowadays you can't have any exotic pets, so you can't have you can't have iguanas or you can't really have turtles
You
anymore.
can't have a chameleon.
I'm sorry?
You can't have a chameleon.
I think they're stopping all of that. The reason is people buy them and then they leave them out after they can't take care of them. And then, so people have stopped. So you can have a dog or a cat, and of course you can have fish. I like my fish. I don't have to walk them out. I can take care of them.
Means you can't just go for a walk.
I'm sorry?
You can't have a turtle.
You can't have a turtle.
What if you put a leash on it?
Save the
You want a turtle?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe then.
So what schools do they?
I just say, this is my version of a dog.
Can you have a bunny?
Yes, you can have a bunny. You can have a bunny for sure.
What about a
My
chicken?
brother.
Yeah. You can, I know, I've got friends who've got chicken as pets. You can have chicken, you can have goats, you can have a camel as a pet, you can have an elephant as a pet, but
An elephant? No, I would love an elephant.
yeah, if you had space, you could keep it. I could keep them in my living room
What about a baby elephant?
if you could take care of it. So you can have all these pets, but most of the people who have these pets live in the village and they use them for work. So elephants, like I said, are used for work. And the cows or ox are used to till the land. So people who don't have tractors, that's how they do it. One second. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Are there foxes in
Uh-huh. Yes?
Do people have them as pets?
No, they don't. I know somebody who has a wolf as a pet. Really? But they don't have fox as a pet. I know somebody who had a wolf as a pet. Yes. Yes, it is. It is. And a lot of people try to steal animals, or actually take them across countries where you can sell them, which is not right. But there are people who do that, and that's why they get caught, and that is not right. So, yeah, go ahead.
Do they still use elephants for construction still?
In the village, yes, they still. So how they use them is to pull things. So they have a cart behind an elephant, like you'd have behind a horse, and they drag things with them. Okay.
Oh, you can keep finishing this slide.
For the time when we were ruled in India, okay.
Oh, perfect timing. Great.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Get a picture
Yeah.
of you with everyone.
Absolutely.
And then I'm gonna try to go back to that. Probably a faster way to do this. Oh wait, if you guys wanna come up to the front area and we'll get a picture.
Oh, I got it. Short people in the front.
Yeah, short people in the front, tall people in the back.
Sure.
Right at the back? Who do I get to stand with?
Alright, get in the front,
You guys are
people.
almost as tall as
Squat down. Squat down, student. Over here. Student. Okay. If you're in the front, squat down a little bit. Everyone, will you go in front of Star and squat down a little bit? Perfect.
Okay, one. Everybody looking, smiling. 1, 2, 3. Let's do another one. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Let's
you.
give
It was great
Jonathan
meeting you
another
guys.
round
Thank
of
you.
Don't dare.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, guys. So we got about a minute left. Thank you guys for. Yeah. I'm gonna let you guys. If you make sure your chairs are pushed in, I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and go. Early.
See you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, they do. Sorry. Miss Betty.
Yes.